Hello and welcome everybody to the latest edition of the Jam and Cheese Show. Cheese, how we doing, lad?
I'm doing good, actually. Feeling light. I'm feeling like a bit of a victim, though. I had the victim mindset at training today.
Why's that?
Getting absolutely flogged. Being able to run now because my legs work, but my arms don't. But being able to run, they're making me run. And it's just, I just feel a little bit hard done by.
Yeah, it's not
Injury
fun.
equals opportunity, they say.
Yeah, but it's not fun being in the injured crew, is it?
Or to be fair, the other injured boys are all leg injuries. So it's not that I'm running by myself. It's just that there's only I'm injured upper body. So,
Yeah.
And Vic still trains with the team, so it just hurts. But I'm feeling fresh. I'm growing this mangy old beard out until I'm back.
It's looking good, mate. And the cast, how's it smelling?
The cast, it is just putrid. Like it's meant to be antimicrobial or whatever it is. Like,
Oh yeah,
enthralling, but it's meant to be antimicrobial. So it's meant to be like just water washes the smell away. But I can just feel it. Like I can just feel, and I'm running my ass off, flat out, and you could just imagine what. And I smell it all the time. Like my missus pushed my arm off me last night because she was like, "What the hell is that smell?" So,
Everything else all good? You doing anything extreme
I'm doing it
to get recovered?
Oh yeah. I just did a 3-day fast. That was last week because I wasn't moving around last week. I wasn't allowed to sweat.
Right, okay.
So I did a 3-day fast, but all I was allowed was collagen, and it was tough because
That's tasty.
Yeah, it was tough because the last day was a Saturday, and when you're sitting around doing when you are active, you're not really thinking about food.
Yeah.
But when you're sitting down on a Saturday, day off, you got nothing to do. You get hungry, and then the missus starts cooking cakes and
No.
yeah.
She didn't bake a cake.
She made a Persian love cake, which I love. It's like made out of nutmeg and tastes a bit like ginger, but it's got no ginger in it. But
Persian love cake.
yeah.
Sounds like a euphemism.
Yeah,
I don't know, it's Persian love cakes now, but I want one.
but yeah,
That is, I think that...
tough week.
Look, I'm not a relationship expert, but I think that's on report and you go into the bin. It's all right, make a Persian love cake whenever you want, not apart from when I'm on a 3-day fast on day 3. Is that Minicello that's...
I think it's been advised down by Minicello. Obviously, it was the performance staff, but I wouldn't assume that they'd be giving me dietary advice without consulting him.
Yeah, we had him on the podcast actually, fascinating guy, and I went to one of his presentations where he presented on all the
talk about the hydrated spines.
Yes, fascinating. Well, he spoke about that on the podcast.
Yeah,
but a fascinating guy with his research and the food as medicine approach seems to work for him, and it all stacks up. And he.
Well, the good thing about him is if you ever see him with the shirt off, you know he knows how to work a diet.
It's funny, isn't it, when you get like some nutritionist or trainers and you're like,
yeah, it's like a guy named Lockie Penfold at the Storm was giving us food advice, and he's a big fat hooer. I was like, mate, Lockie, with all due respect,
yes,
you got nice skin, but your belly
skin's very smooth. Speaking of all things Roosters, you got the win on the weekend.
Yeah.
Has there been much banter between Origin teammates or Origin enemies? I'm thinking in particular Lindsay Collins and James Tedesco. Has that been?
They haven't been in.
Oh, they haven't.
Nah.
They both played on.
Yeah, so they just went to the game.
Oh, they just rock up to they didn't do captain's run.
Oh, they must have done captain's run, but see, Brandon's on the other schedule.
Drats.
But they didn't do the training before that. But I'm on the other schedule. I'm on that, the Tour de France / Herb Elliott bloody schedule.
I don't miss those. Mate, being injured, not playing is enough, but then it's that grueling punishment. But has there been an elephant in the room, or has it been?
Well, there's been chat around. Instead of kicking it for Tupou, we're going to kick it to the black dot. Get Lodgy, get Collins underneath there. Yeah. So that's the chat.
That's the chat.
That's the chat. Well, put it on a hooker's head. Maybe Harry Grant, Reid Marnie, they're short. Lindsay jumps over them.
Yeah, I'm just imagining like at the end of training when back at the clubs I've been associated, we break off and do extras like position specific extras, and the wingers would go do some kick catch, outside backs, forwards would do some ruck plays. Lindsay just goes, I'm just gonna pop over there. It'd be great to see. Just like
it's funny because I watched the North Sydney Bears game, and one of the other, Fletcher Baker, he's mate, he did the same thing. He didn't score, but they put a kick up and he flew over the top, caught it and offloaded it. I was like, nice. What's going on here?
Good on them, like competing. I just wondered if there'd been...
I wonder if he was thinking, Lindsay can do it, I can do it.
I'm going to get it done. Onto one of my old clubs. It hasn't been great. A great week for them with Riles not committing. And now talk of a backflip on a rookie coach to a more experienced coach, and Shane Flanagan has been a man that's put his hand up in the media. Do you think he's the right person for the job, or it's the right fit?
Well, I definitely think he's a good coach, yeah. I don't know what the right fit is. I don't know what's going on in that organisation. But I think he's a good coach. So like the way the Sharks won in 2016, like that's good coaching. I can only assume that he teaches a hard style of football because that's how they played in 2016. I've got not much knowledge of him as a coach, but as far as his record speaks, he must be pretty good.
So I'm looking at it going, they need to shift the area of focus, and all these talk of like, we're going to build our pathways and premierships. Like, forget it.
Yeah.
Forget that. Let's get a turnaround in results now.
Yeah.
Like, let's see if we can get some positive news stories. I think the advantage of bringing a Flanagan in, or maybe like I've said that I think I made a case for Des Hasler.
Yeah.
Because he has a history of not just winning premierships, but getting a reaction from the current playing group. So he did that at the Bulldogs when he first arrived there. Big upside in results without much tinkering in the transfer market, because I don't think the Dragons are in a position at the moment to go out and recruit their way out of this problem.
Yeah.
So that you're not going to be able to do that. I know Flanagan did that at the Sharks, but he's not going to be able to recruit his way out. He's got to get a reaction to get some positive news stories. Des also did that the second time when he went back to Manly. He got an instant reaction.
When he went back, was that at the start of the year or like mid-season?
Full pre-season from memory.
That's what I think is the tough thing about going to a club is if you're a coach that teaches hard work and effort, it's hard to do that mid-season because you can't just flog someone and expect them to play.
Yeah.
So
I think whoever goes in will start.
But they're showing promising signs.
Yeah.
I thought they were all right the week before that. Penrith. I didn't watch the Penrith game.
But I think maybe they need to look at maybe... and it's hard. There's no right or wrong answer. Maybe a Flanagan or a Hasler with a Dean Young or a Ben Hornby to sort of take over the reins, get that uptick in performance, get that upside, get a response from the group. They lay the foundations, and then have a Hornby or a Young take them on to challenging for a premiership, because they're nowhere near that at the minute. They've got so much to get right. Yeah. And I think having an experienced coach in there, what they are masters of doing are deflecting the media. Wayne Bennett, Craig Bellamy does it all the time. They're two that really spring to mind. Yeah. And Flanagan and Des have both done it, where an issue will come up and they make it about them.
That's what I think was the scary thing for Jason Riles. I think because he's come from the Roosters and he's come from Melbourne Storm, who have those football directors that sort of take the load off like the coach. I know Frank Panisi would be one of the best football directors in the game, or really well respected, and he does everything for Craig. Like, Craig does not a lot outside of coaching, And I think when Jason went to the Dragons, I think he knew that it was going to be sort of him by himself, and he's not going to have those sort of people behind him. Like, obviously, Trent's got Nick, and Trent's got this board at the Roosters that are unbelievably good. But yeah, I think that's what deterred him. Whereas he's been to the Storm and he knows what Frank will do for him as a rookie coach. And it's interesting. But I think Dragons definitely need some support for Shane Flanagan. Yeah, or he's going to find it hard.
Yeah, but he is very experienced, and what the good experienced coaches know how to do is to make the story about them. Yeah, like they may, even to be fair, I look at the some of the fallout from Origin and Queensland having a 14th player on, and Billy Slater said, no, that's my fault. He made it about him. Yeah, it was like, really? Like, even though they won. Yeah, and the good coaches have a knack of doing that. Like, deflect from off-field issues, boardroom drama. They can create a narrative where all of a sudden we're talking about the coach and not all the other stuff going on. So I don't know. The Dragons, it's a mess.
I'm glad to see Shane Flanagan back though, because he is a good coach. And
he is. Yeah.
How long? When did he get suspended? 17.
17, yeah. I think so. 17
it's been that long
or 18 maybe. Yeah. From memory. But a lot of the fallout now from game one in State of Origin has been around some of the
that 14th man thing.
Yeah.
Like, I would be under the understanding that that's the NRL's fault. Because there's a matchline official, right? That
lets you on.
And he tells you when you can run on. You hand them the card, and they go, "Yeah, you're allowed to go on now." Like,
I know what you mean.
Because I've done that heaps. I've wanted to run on. Yeah, and he goes, he's not off yet. Just wait. So that's at some point there's got to be that matchline official. It's got to be his fault as well.
Yeah, they're not going to own up to that, because they'll miss out on the best seat in the house. He just ran on. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you're that on sideline official, I was telling him to, like, you can imagine the court document. I kept telling him, no, wait, but he just threw the card and ran on anyway. Like,
he spat in my face on the way out.
But yeah, there's been a lot of fallout. Some of it has been around the carnage and the impact on club football with injuries. Some talk of it. Buzz Rothfield and Brent Reid were hashing it out about should it be moved to the end of the season. Like, I am completely and utterly against that. Like, no, it's not perfect having it now, but you can't move it to the end of the season.
Yeah, I love it. I love that Origin period where everyone's got a sort of their teams. It then becomes the depth of your roster to then get results, and people get more opportunity. And obviously the injuries were not ideal, but like, that's on the players. They want to back up 2 days after the game. That's on you. Like,
well, I was thinking the same. Like should some of those players have had that taken away from them? Yeah, like Penrith over the past 2 seasons, like they sent their B team, or they rested everybody after Origin. I remember the Tigers getting a win against them, a close win. It's like, oh well, they only just beat the
I do remember
Penrith
that game.
Team without 6 or 7 stars.
Yeah.
So, like, why are we criticize Origin, but
and they won a premiership that year.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
I don't know. Like, it at some point, because it's almost like I assume it's almost like a badge of honor though. It's like, I just played Origin, but I'm going to put my team first. But it's, you got to put yourself first sometimes, I think,
or have that, or know. Or know the mentality of a highly driven, highly motivated athlete. Like, look at a guy like Nathan Cleary, for instance, right? He's pissed off they lost. He just wants to get back on the park. He wants to rectify the problem now and show the world what he's made of. Yeah. But maybe that decision should have been taken away from him. Yeah. And that's not a criticism on the club of Penrith, but there's been a number of injuries.
No, I agree. And weren't the numbers for Origin, because they had it at the end of the year, COVID year, didn't they? Weren't the numbers down then?
On the TV,
the TV rating.
recollection, I think they were, but also for like we're a unique sport, and I don't use that term unique at like this is unique.
Yeah.
It's not. Our game is the only sporting competition in the world where an interstate game runs in between the middle of the season.
Yeah.
Like soccer back in England, they break for international breaks and stuff like that, but the whole competition stops.
Yeah.
And that's the way it is. But we're the only comp that has an interstate game in between the season.
Yeah.
And also teams, they put their roster together based on that, and it's a compliment and a consequence.
Yeah.
And also it gives you as a Kiwi and me as an Englishman, gives us an advantage to be in the roster because we can't play Origin.
Yeah.
So you got to factor
and
that in.
even that young guy that might be a good player, but just he's stuck behind Nathan Cleary.
Yeah.
He gets an opportunity, and then he gets another opportunity to showcase his skills and maybe be able to get a contract with another team where he's going to be the starting number 7. Like Sean O'Sullivan.
Yeah, well, mate, you can't have it at the end of the year because it's too much excitement at one time a year, believe it or not, because you look at structures of other sporting comps where excitement comes in or big games come in. Like,
what are they saying? Are they saying play every week?
I think that there was talk of just having it at the end of the year. And let's not even forget. So what would you do? You'd have a grand final, you'd need a week off, and then you'd start Origin 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
Like,
that's 4 weeks.
Well, what about the international game? Like, what about the international game?
Exactly, the
international
game.
That's basically 2 fingers up to the international game saying, we don't care about you. We need the international game.
Yeah.
Like, it basically removes Australia from the international conversation because we know we need Origin. And look, at the moment, is it perfect? No. But what else do we do?
Yeah.
Like, we'd solve that problem. We create so many more if you had it at the end of the year.
What they're saying, I think the only interruption is the injuries, right? Like, other than that, what's the problem?
They're saying it impacts club football too much,
and that can be solved. Like the injury thing, like rest.
Yeah. Well, you're not allowed. You're not allowed to play club football before Origin.
Yeah.
So
you got 4 weeks basically at the end of the year. The off season goes for 8, so you're pushing back a whole month. If they play international, that's another couple of weeks. Like people that are playing Origin will be back in February.
Yeah, but also like you'd have those players that don't play finals, so they're sitting around for 4 or 5 weeks with that week off as well. Yeah. And then,
most of the players that are playing Origin are playing in the finals.
Most are, but some wouldn't.
Yeah.
It's just I don't know.
Yeah, look, true. You've got to, like, with all due respect to Newcastle, of course, Tyson Frizzell, like
Appy Coruscant.
He's stuck. Yeah, he's stuck in 4 weeks of watching footy, and then he's got to get caught up. That's a good point.
Yeah,
that's enough. That's enough for a point for me not to like having it at the end of the year.
Fair enough. So Cleary is definitely out for game 2 and 3. Who would you like to see replace him, or who do you think will?
I'd love to see Nico. Like, obviously, he wants he'd want some revenge, some sort of way, or some way to make himself be known in that arena. And I think he deserves it. Like, he's the reigning Dally M. He's having a great year. Like, I just think he deserves it. And that's coming from a little bit of bias because I went and watched his game on the weekend. He invited me to his game. I went and watched it on the Shark Park Hill.
Sell out as well. No wonder the Sharks fans couldn't get a ticket.
It was an absolute nightmare. I didn't know you had to stand up on the hill the whole time. Like, you can't see over the thing if you sit down. But yeah, that was pretty wild. And then went back to his after and had seen his mum and stuff. So it was pretty awesome. But yeah, I'd love to have him on.
Yeah, I think if you look at how New South Wales was set up, he was next in line, right? So now Nathan's gone. Why are we having this conversation?
Yeah.
Like, the talk of Reynolds and Moses. It's like, well, Hines was next cab off the rank.
Plus, he's literally the 14.
Like he was next cab off the rank to go in there. Plus, look, I know Mitchell Moses and Adam Reynolds, they've been asked. Yeah, they'd love to. they'd love to. They talk, but we're just going to see how we go. Nico Hines has come out and says, I want to play number 7 for New South Wales.
Yeah.
Like, have you got a more determined voice than that?
Yeah.
Like, for me, that's a massive statement.
It's not the trademark, it'd be a great opportunity.
Yeah. Or we'll just wait and see what happens. Yeah. And no doubt, Reynolds, there's a strong case for him. Brisbane, reunite with Latrell. There's a strong case for Mitchell Moses, one of the premier halves. But mate, go with Hines. And then I think I'm on the fence whether or not Cody Walker comes in for
after the game I watched, he's
a freak. He's in such great touch.
Oh mate, he's played so well on the weekend just gone. I thought Titans had them, and then he really just he's made Alex Johnson nearly the most prolific scorer in the world.
Some of the some tries that are Alex Johnson could go on to break some records, but
some of them are very easy.
I
love that he rips it. Have you seen that shirt he wears? It's like the catch and put down.
I've not. That's genius. Honestly, I'll say this: my nan could score some of those tries that he scores.
But one he scored the other day with when Tass offloaded to him, he literally took 10 seconds to put it down.
Me nan at 90 odd would get it and fall over. And
it was like when you're doing a con game and you're waiting for your team. You're waiting for your team to come back, and he was just waiting.
But yeah, I'm leaning towards. Well, sorry, I'm not leaning towards. I'm in on Hines, and then leaning towards Walker.
Well, if you're talking about combinations, they've played 2 Indigenous All-Stars together.
And then you throw. I think obviously we welcome back Latrell. That's no doubt he's in, and then you've got a question mark over. If you stick with Trbojevic, or you keep Crichton based off his decision, he can play both sides as well. But on that,
surely Turbo can play both sides. He's not even a centre.
Yeah. So, but they've got a decision to make whether or not they.
I like it. I would say, Nick. Obviously, you've got to keep performing at your club, because you can't just have 2 bad games and then go, I expect to. Because I was the next cab on the rank. He's got to perform. And that's what I think Billy done well. He just went Kalen Ponga.
Yep.
With all due respect, you haven't been in form. I'm going with 3 smiles.
Yeah.
And he picked people on form, like Hamasai. Oh, that was the biggest shock for me in that Origin. I was like, he is going to get ruined. He's in the centres. He never plays there. And
it was nervous. it was.
And he was the best player on the field. And they even put him on the Tommy, he was bloody good, man.
You reckon they should go to 2 hookers?
Who?
New South Wales.
Nah.
What's the difference between? I'll ask you as a hooker. What difference does it make?
I don't think so. I just think it's because you kind of seen when Harry came on with Queensland that kind of affected a little bit on the timing of the runners from the forwards and stuff. Well, I could see it. I could see some of the passes were looking edgy forward because Ben Hunt every time was getting up, getting off the deck and passing because that's his style. Whereas Harry was straight off the deck, and that's what I think. I think Cook and Uppy are such different playing styles. They're completely different. Yeah. Uppy's going to hold the ball a lot longer. He's going to be much more deceptive. Whereas Cook is just at you.
Go. Yeah.
He's at you. And I think if you just make that switch up, it could affect. But I'm happy whether it's Cook or Uppy. But I think it just has to be one.
It's got to be one, and they've got to bang out the 80. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what Fittler does there, whether or not he goes back to the.
But then again,
as a nine,
with my theory like that, it still works for Queensland.
Yeah, that's it, and it did. But where's the mindset as a 9? Is it better suited for Appy's not consistently playing 80 minutes for the Tigers? Are you more comfortable in the knowledge that I can go and go all out here? Because I think he was top tackler for New South Wales as well, which he's not there to make tackles. Yeah, that's not his. It's part of his job description, but that's not why he's picked in the team.
It's funny though because people think, this guy made heaps of tackles. He's fit. There's a reason.
It's not a compliment.
No, but there's a reason people make a lot of tackles. Like there's a reason there's players out there that make 60 tackles a game. It's because they're being found. Like they're being found and they're being ran at. But so it's not a huge. It is. They are fit, but it's not the biggest compliment in the world.
Yeah.
But I think Cookie, he played real well again. It's a stone throw on who, and with Nathan,
it's a stone throw.
Yeah,
that's not
way off.
That's like.
Can we get that cut out?
No. Let's definitely leave that in. That's what it's
a stone throw. It's a toss up.
Something like that. Stone throws.
But I
I
was thinking like if you're fair dinkum, like I'm a bloody Aussie. If you're fair dinkum about like Cody Walker coming in, then the whole Uppy Coruscant like connection with the Panthers players kind of goes away.
Yeah, it does. There's one guy that put his hand up for Hooker of the Year nomination. I don't know if you saw the Dolphins against the Warriors. Jared Wallace started in the hooking position
I watched it
for the Dolphins, and I think his days at number 9 are well and truly numbered. He did well. He had a good dig, but I think that's one of those.
It was so funny because I could tell it was playing on his head because every pass he threw, he'd he'd follow through with his hands. And
I know what you're talking about.
You know what I mean? And
that technique that you get taught.
He would point at the players.
It looks so unnatural. So I don't think Jeremy Marshall King has anything to worry about there. Good on you though, Jared, for stepping into that role because obviously the Titans were. I mean,
I want to know the conversation that was had. Was it Jared came forward and went, mate, look, I can play hooker.
I'll do this one for the team, Wayne.
Or did Wayne go, Jared, what do you reckon? Like, you reckon you got it?
Oh God, I'd love to know.
Because I'm leaning towards Jared went up and said,
I'll do this for you, coach.
Wayne, I got you.
I'm your man. I've been ball playing a bit in the middle. I'll just get out dummy half, like slower than that. I'll be like, what type of hooker do you want to be, Jared? I'll be the Happy Coruscant. You use deception. Now, can you do more of a cookie roll? Probably not. Anyway, one of the fallouts from that game, UNA not charged for a hip drop. Look, we're still all over the shop, aren't we?
Oh, the worst was the Jai Arrow one. Like it was dead set hip on ankle, like dead set. He's done a syndesmosis and he still got away with it.
Look, the bunker, the referees, the match review committees.
Do you know what's had to happen?
Like it can't be that hard.
Do you know what's happened? The Crusher's back. The hip drop's gone. The Crusher.
That's pissing me off.
They haven't been penalising Crushers for weeks. And then now, for some reason, there's this massive spike in Crushers.
Mate, some of them are an absolute. You can just, if I was playing that, one of my tactics. If we're under the pump, just run in, back into the tackle, and just sit down on your bum, and then go, and then act like you just can't, like you've lost all feeling in your arm. You're like, oh my god, oh no. Again, like I've said this before about people feigning injury. I reckon if you're the victim of a crusher, let's say, and you do that with your arm, and I reckon you've got to leave the field in a sling.
Yeah, see,
make them come off in a sling.
Instead of saying you've got a sore head, you just grab a body part.
Yeah. Like some of the oh god, is he going to be okay? Like, and we don't want to see players get injured. And when it's genuine, obviously, like they need the attention. But let's err on the side of caution. If anyone's down, grabbing at the neck, we can't. Hey, necks are very sensitive.
Stretcher, bring the stretcher.
Bring this big neck, like neck brace, stretcher. Get them off. It's pissing me off, man.
Well, that's what happened to me when I got injured at Warriors. Like, I had a sore neck, but I didn't want to get that. And they full stretching me. The ambulance wasn't allowed, like, I wasn't allowed to look anywhere but the sky for like 4 hours. It's like this.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had one of those genuine, like, got my neck. No, I was making a tackle, actually. I was making a tackle.
Well, I did lose feel. I lost feeling in my legs from my neck. From my neck. So that was...
Yeah,
that was what was weird.
I've done it where I've made a tackle with my left shoulder and then lost all the feeling in my right arm, which was bizarre. Yeah. And then you're thinking, what's happened here? And this arm just wouldn't move. So look, I get what it's like, and it wasn't in a crusher style situation, obviously, but players are just taking the piss with that now.
Speaking of no feeling in my arm, when I got this surgery, they put a nerve block in there.
Ah.
And it didn't go away for fucking a day and a half. Like, I was in bed. Like, I got out of surgery, and I'd like lift my hand up and it'd just go donk and just hit this bedside table. I'm going, that can't have been good for it.
Are you sure?
And I just still couldn't feel it. You like drag it back over.
Is that not one of them where you sit on your hand for a little bit and then, I don't know, you know what I mean?
Why didn't you try it? And it just goes right.
Yeah. Okay, so Tommy Trbojevich has been named to play. Statement from Manly. At all times, the club's first priority has been Tom's welfare. Our chief club medical officer agreed that Tom had to be removed from the field, but at no point was he diagnosed with a concussion. Furthermore, Tom does not have a history with concussion issues. Throughout this process, Tom has not been diagnosed with concussion from either New South Wales doctor, an independent doctor, or the Manly doctor. Tom will line up for the Seagulls on Friday night. That said, it looked like what did you see on Wednesday? For me, it looked like he was a victim of a high tackle at least.
Yeah. I definitely think he got something like sparked or something, but what do you think? Like, didn't he get category 1?
From recollection from watching the game, it was reported
did he get taken off? He wasn't allowed back on because of the 15 minutes.
No, because they've got criteria that meets category 1 versus category 2.
Yeah.
So he was a category 1 based off the criteria of the independent that's available to all the doctors.
Yeah, the 30 second.
Like lay motionless, stumble, or fail.
Yeah. So, but like even then, because it's a mandatory 15 minutes. So if you go off for that,
but if you go off for category 1, it doesn't even matter.
Yeah,
you're done. Category 2, you can do your test and then maybe.
Well, then I don't know how he's playing
because Manly have basically said they've appealed it, and the NRL bought in. They did bring in, in extreme circumstances or in some cases they will, forego the 11-day stand down period. But
how long's it been?
So they had the bye on the weekend.
Yeah.
So they're playing Friday.
Well, what's
so it's not been 11 days.
Yeah. So what's your thoughts on it?
Well, look, there's two sides to this that we've got to look at. The first is the governing body.
Mm-hmm.
So the governing body have got to future-proof the game.
Yeah.
And not be liable in 10, 20, 30, 40 years' time. So their protocols have got to be absolutely watertight. That they are acting in, they're acting with the best available knowledge and research and applying the rules or setting the rules based on that.
Yeah.
So as a governing body, if that's what they've concluded, then I've got to assume, and I trust our governing body to set those rules and regulations up to be watertight, so that in the future we're not looking back at this incident and going, well, based off this evidence, he should never have been able to play.
Yeah.
So we've got to make sure that I trust the governing body that they're in the right point.
Yeah. Well, that statement kind of sounds pretty.
It's nothing to do with the club. This is a governing body. Yeah. But then for Tommy Trbojevich himself, like, I am never going to tell anybody they shouldn't play or they can't play.
Yeah.
Because I get what it's like to be a highly motivated athlete that doesn't particularly worry too much about the future health outcomes. In fact, I said it before that, I looked at the meaning of life. I was dead against being told I couldn't play, couldn't come off. It was like, it's my choice. If I think I'm concussed, I'll get off. If not, don't you dare tell me what to do. Or if I'm slightly concussed, I'm just going to keep on going anyway.
Yeah.
And I don't care. I said that, perhaps the meaning of life is to find something worth dying for. And I thought about that very deeply. That came after a lot of conclusion
And
following
concussion.
And concussion, yeah. Like I accepted the fact that I may die young as a consequence of continuing on when being concussed. I accepted that. That was part of me being a product of my environment, but also B, some philosophy in life called trolleyology, which is about how we take different paths. And that's something that I was personally okay.
Yeah.
And I concluded to. The message I think that we should be talking to Tom about is, you know, the Manly have said there he's not been diagnosed with a concussion, but this is subjective.
Yeah.
Being diagnosed with concussion is subjective. So I've spoke to so many experts in the field, and at the moment there is no test to say you are concussed or you are not concussed.
It's just an honesty test.
It's honesty, right?
Yeah.
So Tom needs to know that he needs to be honest, or if he's not, there are some potential consequences further down the track. And if you accept that, I look at risk and how we evaluate risk, and you pay a price for everything you do, you pay a price for everything you don't do. Again, I understand that you can be in a position where you think, I need to play for my team. I feel all right. I'm going to play for my team because I want to play well for Manly. I've been under the pump. We're not where we need to be, season on the line, but also I want to play State of Origin. Next week, I want to prove to the selectors that I'm still fit. He had to prove with that game against Canberra, but also that understanding that if there are symptoms, that there's consequence. I think that players and people need information.
Yeah,
they don't need fear, and the best thing you can do at the moment, unfortunately, there is no actual test for concussion. There's no biomarker that I'm aware of that can diagnose with a high degree of accuracy. They're working on that.
But I don't even know what a concussion is. Like, if I was to get hit in the head, I've been sparked.
Yeah. Well, that's
does that mean it's a concussion?
Well, it means different things to different people. Certain people would diagnose that as a concussion.
Yes.
Some people think it's. I used to think it was sparked. I just need a bit of a standing eight. Yeah, I need a. Yeah, I saw the lights. I need a standing 8 count. I'll be sweet.
Yeah.
Crack on. But for me,
I don't know if that means it's a concussion.
Well, it is.
Yeah.
That would meet the criteria. And this is where it's important that the best diagnosis for concussion is honesty. Yeah. And if Tom is comfortable with that, then and he's aware of some of the potential risks, then but it is, I can't stress this enough. Like,
who made that statement? Was it the club or was it?
Yeah, the club, because they've obviously now got to justify.
Well, if it's with the NRL covering their ass, surely they could just, in the future, they could just go, well, look at this club statement. Well, and then it'd be on the club.
Well, it is, but the club would say, no, or the player would say, the governing body set the rules.
Yeah.
And they set the criteria. And even, I've been on a big journey with this, and perhaps even looking at my own self, should we protect each other, put rules and regulations in to protect young people from themselves that aren't too concerned about the future.
And it sets a dangerous, precedent, because a lot of teams are just going to be like, well, it's only been 8 days, we can get him out.
Yeah. Well, when we think of things like Origin, like finals, there are some things in there that if it's Category 1, you don't have a history of concussion, you've not had X amount in your career or up to that certain point. If you go and see an independent doctor and get passed, but we all know, Cheese, that going to that independent doctor is basically you are going. If you make
if you want to play,
if you want to play, you're playing.
Yeah. If you want to play, you just got to go and lie to this guy.
Yeah. You and I know the answers.
Yeah.
That we need to give.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fine.
Apple
okay.
Bubble.
No headache. No.
Apple bubble.
Apple saddle. No, sorry. Apple carpet.
Bro, the last time I did it, my baseline.
Elbow, apple, carpet, saddle, bubble. There's your 5 words. It's elbow, apple, carpet, saddle, bubble.
Yeah. They do 10 now.
Oh, spanner in the works.
But my baseline was 7. I got sparked in a game, and I got all 10 of them.
Well, this is where we're at for testing for concussion. The very fact that you can improve your baseline shows that it's not a very effective test. But look, I guess, I always say, people often say to me like, "Oh, you've changed your tune. You were always wanting to go back on and carry on." Yeah, I did. But then I understand why that probably shouldn't have been the way I operated. And I came from an environment where you wore it as a badge of honor. You'd never show you were here. I didn't give a flying about being here. I just wanted to do everything I could, and I thought that being out there concussed was the best thing I could possibly do for my team. And I didn't give a shit about what was happening in the future. Well, sorry, I did. I thought about it, and I thought, well, I'd rather live now. And that's a bit about that trolleyology philosophy. Yeah. So I take...
Well, you could die driving home.
Well, it's about taking responsibility. No one's going to plead ignorance with this, and I hope Tom isn't, and it doesn't appear like he is. But that we can't afford to do that. You know, there's some players that we unfortunately weren't given the information in the past.
Yeah.
So they plead ignorance. Like, well, why would a sports governing body allow me to play on 6 days later? Well, they must. I'm going to trust them to make the decision. But now we know it's it's there, and like I said, never discourage anyone from playing, but just encourage honesty. All right, now it's time for Fans Feeling, where listeners send us in questions for Jam and Cheese and ask us about how we feel about a wide range of league topics, all thanks to Tuies. How do you feel? I feel like a Tuies or two. So you love that, don't you, Cheese? Big shout out to Tuies. I do love a Tuies
or two.
Me too.
I had a few, actually.
Very nice. All right, first question.
G'day, boys. Love the show. My question is, for some reason, if you could only ever remember one game from your entire career for the rest of your life, what would that game be and why? Cheers, boys. Keep up the good work.
Do you want to go first?
You can go first.
All right, mine would be... I think I'm going to go England versus New Zealand at Anfield in 2018. Like, it meant so much to me, that game. Like, we'd had a big World Cup. We just lost the final against Australia. It was important that group of men won something. We played the Kiwis at the game at Anfield, my home city of Liverpool. I had a lot of friends and family there. And it just meant the absolute world to me. I've been emotional after games, grand finals and whatnot, but I was just like overcome. And I say unfortunately because our skipper was missing, Sean O'Loughlin, but for me to lead the team out in my home city of Liverpool at Anfield, like it was, and then get the series win was, it's something that.
I'm the same. I think that's why we need to grow the international game. Like my most fond memories, the Premiership was great, but when I played against Australia, was my first ever game for the Kiwis. We played against Australia and New Zealand at Mount Smart Stadium. It's not Mount Smart anymore though. But yeah, I just got to represent my country, represent my family, and every one of my mates and every one of my family were all there, and it just meant so much. And that like I'd played like 47 minutes all up at hooker, like because I was playing lock, and I was the starting hooker for the New Zealand Kiwis, and we ended up winning. It was like 24-22. Got a try, robbed of a double, and just after the game, my autistic cousin did a haka for me, and my dad, who's white, like Norwegian Kiwi, doesn't know, jumped in, and it was just a memory I'd love to die with.
Yeah. Oh, good.
Yeah, it was the best. Yeah. And that's why we need this international game.
Yeah, too right, mate. How good is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it means more, because it's just you're representing more than just like fans. You're representing people like your motherland.
So. Yeah. It's incredible. And I probably wasn't expecting you to say that.
Yeah.
Like, but how good is it playing for your
that
country?
was the best game ever. Like I cried during the anthem. I cried during after the game. Like cried in the sheds with the boys. Like I didn't do that with the premiership. Like, I was ecstatic. I was happy, but it was raw emotion in that game.
Yeah. And to go to your point there, like I know the Kiwis have the haka, but for us, like singing that anthem, like I used to be next to Bateman, and like he gets you in a bad headlock at the best of times. Like he was tight and everything was like, right, we're going, and then you have to face the haka. And obviously it's a respect thing. But like we're going after it, we're going
it's the best ever. It's the best feeling
and you can
ever.
feel that tension, and you've got like Jared and the Bromwich boys, and you're like, geez, we're on here. Like, we are.
Like that. I get that after the anthem, we have like this. Like I have like this anticipation period, because like we kind of just like congregate into a little circle, and then we just like look at each other and we're like, oh shit, we're on now. And then you just sort of wait for like Peter Hickey to start the haka, but it's that brief moment of just like, holy, here we go.
Yeah. Even that, like, where to stand. So do you stand on the 40 or do you stand on the halfway? And it's like
first time I did it in England, I remember I did the haka so hard, bro. We were like passing the ball around. I thought I was gonna faint, and then we had like this big talk about when you do the haka, like you have to like keep chill, like you don't want to. You don't want to go put it all out there and then go and then head high someone and you're off the game.
Good times, mate. Good times. All right, next question.
Hey, Jimmy, Cheese, it's Zach here, guys. Love the podcast, firstly. Just want to know, in your opinion, which English international NRL player do you believe is dominating in the NRL currently? Thank you.
I'll start. Well, like he said, Dom. So I was thinking, well, Dom Young is going good. He scored 4 tries the other day, and I think he's starting to begin how to know, like how to use how big he is. Because like if you see Dom Young in real life, he's a lot bigger than you think. I seen him at the pub in England, and he was a big hooer. I didn't even know it was Dom Young. He looks a bit spacey though. But yes.
Oh, I know why you're saying this.
I've
just realised. Yeah. How good was that little in and away try he scored? Was it against? Jeez, I called that game as well.
Who did he score the 4 against?
It was against the Titans. He scored this in and away. It was insane. I'd
like to see him at the Roosters soon.
Well, you'll be seeing that very soon. Very soon. No wonder you went him. I will go Herbie Farnworth.
Oh, yeah.
I think for all that Brisbane are doing well at the moment, and they've got some superstars in their team, he just sort of goes under the radar a little bit, but he's a fantastic player.
Incredibly enough, he was at the pub with Dom Young, the one I was talking to, and he is massive. Well, I don't know if I was drunk or something, but these guys look like mountains. I was like, what's going on here?
Dom Young, I'll take. Herbie,
he's a big boy.
He's not small.
But he's like muscly and like, trust me, he's big.
Big shout out.
I don't know. Something must have been in the water at this pub because I felt like a Smurf compared to them. Something was happening.
Fair enough. Big shout out to all the other English lads playing as well. I didn't mean anything against you, Hodgie, Tom, Batty, Elliot Whitehead. Can't think of. Ryan Sutton, Luke Thompson. Sorry, lads.
I couldn't even think of all of them on the spot.
All right, next question.
How we going, guys? It's Ben calling here from God's country, Newcastle, New South Wales. And I was just wondering if you've ever given a teammate a spray so bad that you've just regretted it instantly, or in the locker rooms after had to apologise.
Well, I kind of have.
I don't think I have. I actually don't think I've, not like a bad one, but not like a bad one for me to regret it. I don't really spray people, like, if they're being lazy or anything. I don't really spray people. I just get like a little bit cheeky, like.
Yeah. I give Mitch Brown a bath in 2014. Like, I went off my head at him in a finals game, and I did regret it at the time. Well, I mean, like after the game, I was like, because me and Mitch Brown were really, really close mates. We were playing Manly.
You just won the game. That's why you regret it.
We did win, but we were cruising, and we were like 18-0 up. And then Brownie had a chance, and he just messed up. And all he needed, and I've been over this with him. We actually had a bit of a recreation of this moment. A few of the Bulldogs boys had a little reunion, and we went over this situation. And I was like, yeah, at the time, I didn't apologise in the game. Maybe after the game, I was like, Brownie, love you, we're good mates and all that. But I went back on that apology because we recreated it in the pub, and I showed him what he could do to.
Did you have the beer on the table?
The beer. No, I basically just said all you got to do is get off your left foot, mate. And just come inside, and you'll be fine. You won't turn the ball over. But this isn't a spray when the game had stopped either. This is like the game's going. So like he's messed up. Manly have got the ball, and as we're running back, I'm like, "Fuck, Brownie, yeah." But
I remember when we played against Tonga mid-year, Benji Marshall put a kick up, and it was a shocker. It went dead by like 5 meters, and Jared just like went, "Benji, you fucking cunt. Come over here and make the tackles now," and made Benji run in the middle of the field. It was bloody funny, and he was like running, and Benji, like, he was running, and Benji's like all the way on the other side of the field, and he was just trying to like lean over so he could see him past this other guy that was in between, and he was like, Benji, trying to just find his eye.
It's not good when middles get frustrated.
I reckon what I do is worse than sprays. Like, if, say, Munster stuffed up, I'd like walk over and nice pass, mate. And then this, that's it.
That is even worse.
That's it. I'll just go, nice pass, bro, and then just walk off.
That is even worse. All right.
I treat different people differently.
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. This has been the latest edition of the Jam and Cheese Show. We'll catch you next week.